My friend, aloha to anybody that's gonna watch this eventually or today. If you have questions, put them down below and I will get to that in the comment section. If you dig the way that I teach, please subscribe, check out anything on the channel, and give ideas and suggestions. Moving from labor into music full time. Gonna see if I can try my hand in my favorite playing a little music around the places I live and have fun and encourage music education. I get the privilege of teaching 2 times a week on Mondays and Saturdays here in Hilo at Big Island Guitars. They rent a space to a bunch of other teachers. I just happen to get the privilege of teaching 2 days. So I'm very grateful and very thankful today to be able to be playing and teaching and doing a couple different things, taking requests, and teaching a little bit of music theory. So if you've been following this channel, we're going through all the majors and the minors. I'm going to switch it up. I think I've been doing a lot of stuff on either the mandolin, banjo, or guitar, so I'm going to try a little bit more on ukulele. For today, you would have to have gone through the major scales knowing that a C and a C major correlate with the other 7 notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now with those 8 notes, one of them is the same, the C, the high one and the low one. So the reason why we teach through most courses the idea of C major, and then we move on to the other keys that have sharps and flats in them. It's sometimes confusing to say sharp or flat because a sharp just means we're taking a note and going higher in frequency. Thusly, when we keep going, we can call all these C, C sharp, C double sharp, C triple sharp, but it gets confusing. Therefore, we don't say things twice. So when playing a scale, I don't say C, D, E, F, G, A, G, C. When hypothetically, if I played a G7, that functions as a B diminished. So C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor is the minor 6th of the key of C. C major has no sharps and no flats, meaning when I say all those notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, I don't have to have C sharp or D flat or F natural. They're all just natural notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. The only thing that's different about those suckers is that the 7th is a diminished. Every other one of those is either a major or a minor. You could actually hear it in every key. If I was talking about the key of G major, I would have G major, A minor, B minor, C and D major. Remember, the only difference in here after the E minor, the aforementioned 6, we're going to talk about how G major and E minor are actually relatively the same thing. They have 1 sharp. E minor has 1 sharp. F sharp. It's the 2nd. So what we're going to talk about today is if you know your majors, you already know your minors. The concept is I'm going to show through the eyes of A minor, and you're going to see it through the eyes of E minor, and then hopefully through F sharp minor, B flat minor, all of them. And we'll go through the process. I'm not going to do every single one of these out loud or bore you with notes and stuff. This also is in the form of shorts on my channel, so you can watch it in a 60-second blip and go over it as many times as you want. Here we go. So the aforementioned A minor. A minor would go to a diminished chord as the 2nd. So in the key of C, what was the diminish? C, D, B. So in the key of A, we would have A as our minor 1st. We would have our B diminished as our diminished 2nd. Our major 3rd would be a C major. Our minor 4th would be a D minor. Our minor 5th would be an E minor. Now there are some magic things that we could do to these, but we'll talk about that in another video when we're adding on notes, like 7th notes. Each one of these can have their 7th note added and it makes a completely different kind of fun sound for you to use whilst playing. I digress. When we get from the A minor to the B diminished to the C major to the D minor to the E minor, we then go to the 6th, which is going to be the major F, and then our 7th is going to be G, and then we're going to return to our minor 1. A minor. Did we follow how that is a lot like the C major? Except for having do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we would start our 1 on the 6 because they're the relative minor. That's all we're trying to talk about today. So, going through the process of seeing this, aforementioned, that was in C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. or with the open notes, C, D, open E, F, half step G, open A, B, half step C. With that, we have a whole step, half step, whole step, half step. But if we just know that the intervals move in a mass where you hear those notes, we can play them all the way up the fretboard if we wanted to, seeing them vertically. What we do is we put them horizontally so they make a little bit more sense when moving around with fingerstyle. Having said that, that's all we're really talking about today. All of the chords that we move through can have fun stuff like, how about this? If we had a D minor, and I told you that's my minor 1, in my next chord, you know that the note after D is going to be an E. Would you know if it's an E flat, an E sharp, a E natural, but being in the second state, it would have to be a diminished. So what we kind of do is we realize that D minor can only be the minor in one key. It's F. F, G, A, B flat, C, D. When we go through the process of learning the circle fifths, which is also in another video that I do, or you could Google circle fifths or any of this. Check out any channel that talks about music, theory, education, or pedagogy, and you will find yourself wanting to write down the circle fifths. The way that I teach it out loud orally to 5-year-olds and 55-year-olds alike, that does seem to work, is we take the idea of there are no sharps and flats in the key of C. C, D, E, F, G, A. So today I'm going to go through the concept of the circle fifths in the key of A minor. We're just working from the concept or the idea that every minor has a relative major. It really turns the idea and helps you understand that when you're playing in the key of D minor, you can also functionally see it as going to the E diminished and then playing the 1. If we have a F major to a G minor to an A minor to a B flat major to a C major to a D minor, there's our minor 6, we can see that our diminish is derived by playing a C7, which is enharmonically the same as an E diminished. We're exhibiting that we're able to play a 1 flat 3 flat 5. When playing the B flat in a C, we can look at that from another way. Instead of seeing the C as being the bottom, we then can see the E diminished over the top of it. We could call it a C dominant 7. However, it still has a functionality of being the lending chord or the leading tone into F. So when we have that E diminished to F, when we see it through the eyes of D minor, interesting. G minor, relative, inside as the minor second of F. So the correlation between today is if you can figure out your majors, why not take a look at them from the other side or see the glass as half full rather than half empty. The way we see things in music, at least from my perspective, is I do things over and over and over and over and over again until they make sense both ways. Whilst learning the circle fifths, try and see it as the circle fourths going the other way. If you count 4 from F, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, you will eventually get to the point where you're seeing where your next flat is going to be added on. If F has 1 flat and it's B flat, the next one, the flats pretty much lay out what the next note's going to be all the way through to C flat, 7 flats. But when you're in the key of D flat and you realize you have 5 flats, if you don't know that G flat is the next flat, it is quite literally the next thing you would go to, D, E, F, G, by counting over 4. So when doing flats, you can also say, how many flats did F have? 1? Okay. Well, if F and D minor are the same, that means that D minor has 1 flat. That flat is B flat. I hope that this made a lot of sense. If it didn't, please put questions down below and I'll get to them. I'll help you get to a point where we can understand this. One of the other ways that I talk about the circle of fifths is learn only one side. Learn just the sharps or learn just the flats. And then we could talk story about how you can see G major has 1 sharp. That sharp is F sharp. Therefore, in the key of G flat, it must have 6 flats. Why? There are only 7 notes that we could choose from. If G major has the F sharp, the only note in G flat that is not a flat is, you guessed it, that F. It would be a natural. Thank you for being here. Aloha.